Let's go back to 2023 for a second, when we all thought the Nintendo Switch was nearing the end of its life, despite missing some key installments in some of our favorite video game franchises. For me at least, I thought we were due for another Mario Kart, another 2D Donkey Kong game, and another 2D Mario game. I mean, until now, the last 2D Mario entry was New Super Luigi U, which wasn't even a full game. It was released in 2013, a decade before we got the announcement of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It doesn't take a genius to realize that Mario Wonder had to be good. It had been over a decade since the last 2D Mario entry, and to no one's surprise, the lack of new entries caused the genre to become dead. Was it because of the New Super Mario Bros. Series' eventual failure? Was it all because of the cash grab that was New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe? It could have been any of those things, but the fact was we were getting a brand new take on 2D Mario, and expectations were high. So the game eventually came out, and it was fantastic. Okay, obviously I don't think Super Mario Wonder is perfect. I mean, it's pretty damn close, but to be a success, Mario Wonder needed to mainly get two things right: identity and variety. Things that the New Super Mario Bros. Entries lacked tremendously. Suppose these two things were implemented into the New Super Mario Bros. Games from the start, before waiting until the last entry to do so. If that was the case, who knows, the series might still be going strong today. But all that matters now is how does Super Mario Wonder implement these concepts? Right off the bat, things are different, to the point where we're not even in the Mushroom Kingdom anymore. After years of adventures treading the same kingdom, we are finally introduced to something new: the Flower Kingdom. Well, okay, yes, it's just the same thing as the Mushroom Kingdom, but instead of toads we have poplins, and instead of Princess Peach we have Prince Florian, who we work with to defeat Bowser, who's trying to take over the Flower Kingdom. But still, having a completely new world to explore is a nice breath of fresh air, and it allows the developers to implement some new ideas that maybe weren't possible before. One of the most notable upgrades Mario Wonder brings to the table is the level environments. No more standard grass, snow, desert, beach, etc. Instead, we have a plateau full of canyons, sky filled with fluffy pink clouds and ice, a golden waterfall cave thing, a desert castle, a mushroom mine, and a central hub world that connects them all together. And then we have a generic lava world, but that's not important. These worlds are beautiful. Overall, they just add to the stunning art direction of this game. I don't understand how we get games that look like this, but we also get games that look like this on the Switch. Because damn, visually, Mario Wonder is very impressive. Alright, let's talk about the actual gameplay now. The controls are familiar, yet different at the same time. If you played any 2D platformer in your life, then these controls will be second nature to you. But when it comes to how Mario Wonder's controls compare to other 2D Mario games, then we get into some slight differences. The physics are much floatier and lighter, possibly done to allow for easier platforming. Some abilities are notably absent from the game as well, like the triple jump for example, an aspect that made speedrunning so fun in the New Super Mario Bros. Games. So it's very sad to see it absent in Wonder. However, I think the reason for the absence of many abilities in this game has to do with a new gameplay feature, which we'll get into later in the video, but for Mario and Crew's base movesets, it's about as simple as it could get for a modern 2D Mario entry. And honestly, that simplicity is more than welcome, because above all, this game feels good to play, and that's all that really matters. Level design is also something that I was very intrigued to see in Wonder, and thankfully, these levels are really well designed. They have variety, and generally, they're just fun to run through. Nintendo is practically known for implementing dozens of unique ideas and gimmicks in their games, but that's something that the New Super Mario games lacked. Consequently, this is something that Mario Wonder had to get right. And guess what? Literally every single level in the game brings something new to the table, whether that would be new stage gimmicks, enemies, set pieces, or the new Wonder Flower events. This is the main gimmick of Mario Wonder. In each level, you can find a Wonder Flower, which when collected, completely morphs the stage and implements a Wonder effect, which can introduce a multitude of things, like new gameplay gimmicks, visual effects, etc. And there are a lot of different Wonder effects in this game. I think my personal favorites have to be the ones where it switches the camera's perspective and you walk around with a top-down view. I also like the one where you turn into this blob thing and you can climb up walls and whatnot. But that's just scratching the surface of what these Wonder effects can offer. There are dozens of these things scattered throughout the levels, and we would be here all day if I talked about all of them. They provide that hint of variety that was needed in the level design. But I have one issue. These Wonder Flowers are nothing more than a gimmick. nothing more than a hidden power-up that transforms the stage for only a minute or so. I think the game would have benefited much better from making these wonder effects full levels. Let's go back to the top-down effect as an example. Imagine if instead of having this be delegated to one tiny section of the level, it was the entire level. I know some of you might not agree here, and that's perfectly fine, but despite the levels having some variety in them with these wonder effects, they still tend to blend together at the end of the day. Like, I can't really name certain levels off the top of my head because some look the same, some feature similar gimmicks to others, and some feature the same wonder effects. Again, with the top-down effect, I can't tell you what level or levels that effect took place in, and that wouldn't be an issue if that effect lasted for the entire level. Regardless, I still think the wonder effects are cool, and again, they add both visual and gameplay variety, which I think is a very good thing. Then we have the power-ups, and to my surprise, there are only 4 of them. Yes, the biggest Mario game in years only has 4 different power-ups, but I feel like it's for the better. The previous 2D Mario games almost had too many power-ups, and it caused a ton of balancing issues. Some power-ups were trash, and some power-ups were overpowered, to the point where you would only focus on grabbing one power-up, the most powerful one. The blue shell in NSMBDS, the propeller shroom in Wii, the acorn in U, and so on. But that's not an issue in Mario Wonder. All of the power-ups feel fairly balanced, and they're all useful in their own right. The fire flower is the only returning power-up here. However, you can only shoot 2 fireballs at a time instead of spamming them, which is fine, again with the whole balancing thing. Then we have the bubble flower. This one is pretty neat as you can shoot bubbles to either bounce off of them or trap objects and enemies inside. This is basically an evolution of the blue baby Yoshi in Mario U. Then we have the drill shroom, which is my personal favorite power-up in the game. This allows you to burrow into floors and ceilings, and also lets you damage enemies with your head. Honestly, if they ever remaster Galaxy 2, I hope the drill item gets replaced with this one. That would be pretty sick. And finally, we have the elephant power-up, by far the most popular in the game. With this one equipped, you can break things with your trunk, store water, and then spray water at certain things. You're also much bigger in this form, so you can ground pound certain things you weren't able to in base form. This is the most dynamic power-up in this game, and I like it. But yeah, those are the only power-ups in the game. I would say I would have liked a little bit more if it weren't for one new feature this game introduces, the badges. So the badges are the main replacement for the power-ups in this game, and for good reason. When you equip a badge, a certain attribute or ability applies to your character. There are a few different types of badges. We have action badges, booster badges, and expert badges. The action ones are most likely the ones you'll be using the most. These give you unique abilities that can help you with platforming or other things with gameplay. The first one you get is the Cap Parachute badge, and it's definitely one of my favorites. Another notable one that I found to be very fun was the Grappling Vine badge, mainly because it was very different from the other ones. It did save me from many deaths, so that's a plus. Then we have the booster badges. If you're not doing so well in a level, then these may help you out. They can do things like giving you power-ups right when you enter a level, helping you find certain collectibles, you know, things like that. If you're more skilled at the game, then you'll most likely not use these most of the time, if at all, which is why I really appreciate how most of these booster badges are just purchasable in the shop. If you don't want them, just don't buy them. They're really only there to help out those who are struggling in the game. And then we have the expert badges. These are just broken abilities that, in my opinion, aren't very intuitive to use. Like the Jet Run badge. Why would you use this? Yeah, you go really fast and that's cool, but when it comes to platforming, it isn't going to be so fun anymore. But overall, I think the badges are great. They present new abilities you can master, and they can help with perfecting your run or getting collectibles. Oh yeah, the collectibles. Other than the 3 10 coins you can find in each level to buy stuff in the shops, the main collectible that is crucial for progression is the Wonder Seed. These can be found in many ways. You can get one by getting to the end of every level, but if you want to get through the game faster, then you can also get them by finding secret exits and going through the Wonder Flower effect segments, meaning you can get up to 3 seeds per level. However, if you want to just make a beeline to the end of the game, you don't really need to do that. The Wonder Seed requirements for getting to the end of the game aren't high at all, so as long as you complete a good amount of levels and get the Wonder Flower seeds, then you'll be fine. But if that's not enough, then you can also hit up these challenges that pop up on the world maps. These are loads of fun, and you can unlock new badges from them. The only ones I don't like are the combat rooms. Listen, this game just isn't made for enemy rooms like this, and you have to do some wacky stuff to defeat some of these enemies, so I always avoid these if possible. The break time challenges are just like, why are these even here? They're so freaking short and easy, but hey, maybe that's the point. And then the search missions can get pretty silly at times, like this one where I just could not find the stupid flower coin for the life of me. I actually had to look up a YouTube walkthrough to find it, like, dear lord. Other than those minor complaints, the challenges are cool and gives the game more variety points. What doesn't give the game variety points are the bosses. They suck. They're all against Bowser Jr., and they don't even show up in every world. They just consist of you jumping on his head, waiting for him to do his cool little wonder effect thing, and then rinse and repeat. These aren't really an upgrade from the Koopalings at all. This was a shocker to me because the rest of the game is so well fleshed out, but I guess the bosses were just an afterthought. Truly, I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to add actual good bosses, but they just didn't have the time or resources to do so. But at least the final boss is pretty cool. I actually like the mechanics of this one quite a bit, and it was pretty difficult on my first run. Oh, and yeah, the difficulty. This game actually has some pretty difficult moments. Now, you'll always know what you're getting into difficulty-wise, as each level has a difficulty scale from 1 to 5 stars, but that doesn't get rid of the fact that some of these levels are actually pretty intense. I died multiple times in some of them, and that is a really good thing. I just wish there was a full-on hard mode in this game, because most of this game is very easy, and there's only a handful of levels that feature that hard difficulty, most of which are found in this game's special world. So the special world can be accessed from each main world. It's not really a post-game thing at all, but the final couple of levels are the most difficult in the entire game, including the badge marathon, where you have to survive this massive gauntlet that tests your skills with every badge in the game. Yeah, this is awesome, and it actually took me hours to complete this. The game also has a unique way of implementing multiplayer that I just want to talk about. The online multiplayer is very interesting. Basically, you can just play the game along with other people. They don't interfere with you or anything like that. You can just see other people playing the same level as you at the same time. They can even revive you if you die. That's kinda sick. It's not the greatest thing in the world, and I wish they implemented actual online co-op with friends, but this is such a cool idea that I think more games should implement. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, let's rewind to the identity and variety thing. We have the identity with the unique art style, mechanics, the Wonderflower gimmick, etc., and we also have the variety with the number of different gameplay styles, characters, power-ups, badges, and pretty much everything the game has to offer. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Mario Wonder implements these two concepts almost flawlessly. Now, the game obviously still has its issues, and I can't deny that some aspects of the game were pretty disappointing, but for the first 2D Mario entry in 10 whole years, I think it's fantastic. And even looking at the game without the context of New Super Mario Bros. Or any form of Mario beforehand, it's just a very well designed and fun game. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair. But that was my Super Mario Wonder review. Let me know what you guys think about this game in the comments down below. I would love to hear your opinions. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.